There are currently no verified or credible international reports confirming that the United States has carried out a direct attack on the Prime Minister of Iran. And it is important to clarify at the outset that Iran does not have a prime minister. Under its present political system, the country is structured as an Islamic republic in which ultimate authority rests with the supreme leader, a position currently held by Ali Khamenei while the president serves. As the head of government responsible for day-to-day administration, misunderstandings about Iran's leadership structure sometimes lead to inaccurate claims circulating on social media, especially during times of regional tension. And therefore any discussion of a supposed attack must be grounded in verified facts rather than rumors. The relationship between the United States and Iran has been complex, strained, and often hostile for more than 4 decades. Dating back to the 1979 Islamic Revolution, when the Iranian monarchy was overthrown and the US-backed Shah was replaced by a revolutionary Islamic government. An event followed by the US Embassy hostage crisis in Tehran, which severed diplomatic relations and created a deep legacy of mistrust. Since then, both nations have engaged in political confrontation, economic sanctions, covert operations, cyber activities, and indirect military conflicts through regional proxies rather than full-scale direct war. Over the years, the United States has imposed extensive economic sanctions targeting Iran's banking system, oil exports, and key industries in response to concerns over its nuclear program and regional military influence. While Iran has accused Washington of economic warfare and interference in its internal affairs. Tensions intensified during periods when negotiations over Iran's nuclear activities broke down, particularly surrounding the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, an agreement designed to limit Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief, which faced political challenges and withdrawal decisions that further destabilized diplomatic progress. In addition to nuclear disputes, regional security issues have fueled confrontation, including conflicts in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen, where Iran has supported allied groups and governments, while the United States has backed opposing forces, or regional partners. Incidents in the Persian Gulf, such as tanker seizures, drone shootdowns, and missile exchanges involving allied militias, have periodically brought the two countries close to open conflict, though both sides have generally avoided direct large-scale war. One of the most dramatic escalations in recent history occurred in January 2020, when a U.S. drone strike in Baghdad killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, a senior military commander, an event that triggered Iranian missile retaliation against bases hosting U.S. troops in Iraq and significantly raised fears of broader war. Yet even during that crisis, neither side proceeded toward an all-out invasion or attempt to eliminate the other nation's top political leadership. Claims that the United States has attacked or assassinated Iran's highest civilian or religious authority would represent an extraordinary escalation far beyond previous confrontations. Such an action would have immediate and severe global consequences, including potential regional war, disruption of global oil supplies, emergency sessions of the United Nations Security Council, and sharp reactions from major powers such as Russia and China, both of which maintain diplomatic and economic ties with Iran. The Middle East remains one of the most strategically sensitive regions in the world due to its energy resources, trade routes such as the Strait of Hormuz, and the presence of multiple armed non-state actors and rival state powers, meaning that any confirmed attack on senior Iranian leadership by the United States would likely trigger retaliatory measures, not only directly, but also through allied groups across the region, potentially affecting Israel, Gulf states, and U.S. military installations stationed abroad. It is also important to understand the internal political structure of Iran to evaluate such claims properly. The supreme leader commands the armed forces, appoints key judicial and military officials, and holds decisive influence over foreign and security policy. The elected president manages executive functions under the broader ideological framework of the Islamic Republic. Therefore, the idea of an Iranian prime minister being targeted reflects either outdated terminology or misinformation. Since the prime ministerial position was abolished in 1989 constitutional reforms, in the digital age, false or exaggerated Reports of military actions can spread rapidly through social media platforms. It's often amplified by political agendas, propaganda networks, or simple misunderstanding, and such reports can generate panic, market instability, and diplomatic tension. Even before facts are verified, responsible analysis requires cross-checking information with established international news agencies, official government statements, and multiple independent sources before accepting dramatic claims about war or assassination. While the United States and Iran continue to view each other with suspicion and frequently exchange sharp rhetoric, diplomatic backchannels and indirect negotiations have also occurred at various times to prevent misunderstandings from escalating into uncontrolled conflict, demonstrating that even adversarial states often maintain mechanisms to manage crises. Economic considerations also act as a restraint on total war. As a large-scale conflict involving Iran could disrupt global oil exports, drive energy prices sharply higher, impact inflation worldwide, and strain fragile international markets. Such consequences would affect not only Middle Eastern countries, but also Europe, Asia, and developing economies dependent on stable energy flows. Military analysts consistently note that direct regime-targeting operations against sovereign leadership figures carry enormous legal, ethical, and strategic risks under international law, potentially being interpreted as acts of war rather than limited defensive measures, and thus governments weigh such decisions with extreme caution. In summary, while tensions between the United States and Iran remain a significant feature of global geopolitics, and while periodic military incidents and harsh rhetoric do occur, there is no confirmed evidence that the United States has attacked an Iranian prime minister. Understanding Iran's political system clarifies that the highest authority is the supreme leader rather than a prime minister. Careful evaluation of reliable sources, awareness of historical context, and recognition of the strategic consequences of misinformation are essential when discussing sensitive international security matters. Because inaccurate claims about assassinations or direct leadership strikes can unnecessarily heighten fear and confusion in an already volatile region.